go. Show them what we got.
Without a teleprompter. You thought he was saying rope and chains. He was saying rope and chains, not hope and chains, rope and chains. We don't need freedom. We got from freedom to what? Decide today. Decide today if you're going to be a slave. Decide today if you're going to be the slave to your master.
In 1960, the lifespan of a black person was set. By the way, these are numbers that I've compiled, that I found. People may want to dispute them. Life expectancy for blacks were 7 years less than whites. Right now, white people live to 78, blacks to 72. 50 years, we've made up about 6 years. 50% of black kids did not graduate high school in 1960. In Detroit, the dropout rate is almost 75%.
It's unbelievable.
Wow. In Los Angeles, 35%.
Jeez.
You can go down this road. Baltimore, it's about, what, 60%? And in the suburbs, it's 30%.
Charles, don't you think, and maybe let's stop you here for a second, don't you think this is about the breakdown of the family? I don't think government can solve this.
It gets broken down because of this. It gets broken down because of this. When you give all your hopes and your dreams, when you take it from the family, when
your family,
we gave it away.
When dad is Uncle Sam.
Together with the amount of discrimination and racism that we had in the 1960s and compare it to the opportunities of today, it's actually much worse. And Glenn is right. The #1 priority of conservative values is faith first, and then to get the family back, because the best antidote to racism and poverty are those conservative values, and excellence, and a father in the home is one of those.
The key, though, is that we cannot give our souls. And people around the world, it's not just, well, we've fallen into the trap.
But the more important thing is when we look at, as Republicans, as conservatives, and when we talk about the fear of big government, we have to remember that big government, whether you like it or not, it's the perceived notion that they're taking care of much of low-income America right now, especially at a time during this depression. Maybe the solution should be more on smarter government. More responsible government. And I believe that if that happens, then what you'll have is you'll automatically shift to being smaller government because it'll be based on principle.
All right.
People right now, much of the American public, much of the lower income minority neighborhoods are dependent upon this. So you can't speak against something that is supporting the lower masses, whether you like it or not.
Ain't that lovely? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
Look, Debbie, I understand that after I departed the House floor, you directed your floor speech comments directly towards me. Let me make myself perfectly clear. You want a personal fight? I'm happy to oblige. He wrote, you are the most vile, unprofessional, and despicable member of the U.S. House of Representatives. You have proven repeatedly that you are not a lady. Therefore, shall not be offered due respect from me.
This is something, once again, the Democrat Party, when they put my Social Security number, my wife's employment identification number in a mail piece, this has just been an ongoing thing. I've been called Uncle Tom, sellout Oreo. It's not about Allen West. And so once again, it's very interesting to me that we continually allow liberals to do whatever they want in attacking conservatives. But all of a sudden, when a conservative stands up and says enough, then people want to sit back, especially liberals, want to play victim. She's not a victim. She's been attacking Allen West for quite some time.
Ain't that lovely? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
But Kevin, are you okay when President Obama, the first African-American president, is depicted the way he's depicted on some of these signs, whether it's the Hitler mustache or whether it's being depicted as like the Joker? I mean, is that okay with you?
Well, I've been to many tea parties around the country, and I've yet to see any real violence towards anybody. So I think it's a bit overstated. It's par for the course. Every president that's been elected has gone through something like that. Bush has been was demonized as a gorilla, as a chimpanzee, as a cowboy, cowpoke, and a host of other things. In fact, he was depicted as Hitler many, many times. I did a blog about the idea that Bush was depicted as Hitler more than Obama was. So that's just par for the course. That's what happens One side wins, the other side goes after him. So I don't see any difference between him, between Obama and any other president in this respect.
Making the point that there's an equivalency here, and we have evidence and we have videos and photographs of people who have of incidents in Niagara, New York, Rochester, New York, Arizona, Ohio, and Kansas, where Democratic Party offices, congressional offices, were targeted with stones or bricks thrown through the window. And you're saying that that's happened to Republicans, and all I'm asking is name them.
Yeah, in fact, there's been many incidences where Republicans have been attacked, whether it's at the local level up to the national level. It's not our responsibility to name them. The point.
Ain't that enough? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
So why is a group of Latinos sending this message?
Don't vote this November. This is the only way to send them a clear message. You can no longer take us for granted. Don't vote.
Well, I think you're focusing right now on the headlines and not looking at the substance of that ad. And
the League of United Latin American Citizens is a much bigger organization than yours, LULAC. We reached out to their national executive director today, Brent Wilkes. He issued this statement to us today in reaction to your ad. We've been working for years to increase the Latino vote. I am shocked and outraged that Robert de Posada would release these ads. It's a cynical effort that is designed to get Sharon Engel elected in Nevada. Now, Robert, you used to work at the Republican National Committee. So this is really
20 years ago, yeah.
It's really all about suppressing the Latino vote to help elect Republicans, isn't it? This is just a Republican
It's about
charade.
making people accountable. No. It's about making people accountable for their promises. And that's what we're not doing right here. You're focusing on something 20 years ago in my career. Right now, we're trying to make sure that people start respecting the Latino voters, that people stop taking us for granted and telling us that we have no option but to vote for the people who are promising everything every year, every 2 years, and then ignore us when we go to Washington.
How long ago are you saying that you worked for the Republican National Committee? When's the last time you worked for them? Huh?
1989 to 1992.
Your treasurer, Juan Carlos Benitez, is a Republican lobbyist.
Right.
Okay. You're a Republican organization. You did an anti-Obama ad in 2008. Have you ever done an ad in favor of a Democrat?
Oh, I mean, we have actively campaigned for Democrats many times when I was the head of the Latino Coalition. So, yes, we have done a lot of work for Democrats in the past, and as well as Republicans. I don't hide the fact that I'm a conservative. At the same time, I'm registered independent because I'm ashamed of what a lot of the Republicans are doing right now.
So you didn't vote for Barack Obama, right? You're a conservative. You did not vote for Barack Obama. So how could you be betrayed by a candidate that you did not vote for, did not support?
Ain't that enough? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
A reporter asked me would I appoint a Muslim to my administration. I did say no. I would have to have people totally committed to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of this United States. And many of the Muslims, they are not totally dedicated to this country. They are not dedicated to our Constitution. Many of them are trying to force Sharia law on the people of this country. I don't have time to be watching someone on my administration if they are not totally committed to the Declaration and the Constitution of the United States and the laws of this country. But see, my motivation for saying no, I wouldn't, was based upon the fact that they are trying to push Sharia law off on this country, and I'm simply not going to try and be politically correct, saying never, never, never. Look, as you know, Neil, one of the biggest things that any leader has to do, especially the president, is to surround himself or herself with the right people. So far, I have not come across, or I don't have acquaintances with people who have professed their Muslim religion that are on the list of people that I would consider. And being politically correct isn't something I'm going to spend a whole lot of my time worrying about.
Ain't that enough? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
I think before we fall prey to the trap of even addressing such questions, we need to remember that this is a president who got elected by a virulent form of racism. I wonder what would have happened if a white candidate in this country had been backed up by folks who were saying that white people should vote for him because he's white. White people should vote for him because of white pride and white this and white that. It's an absurdity, it's a travesty, it's an insult to the heritage not only of America, but of black Americans. Martin Luther King was really clear about this, that it was not an issue of black and white, it was an issue of justice for all people. And when you stand forward to run for President of the United States, you should explicitly reject the notion that anyone ought to take account of your race positively or negatively so that this country can get beyond it. That has not been done, was not done, will not be done.
Ain't that lovely? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
I just want to address that one more time real quick, real briefly. When I went to the January 27th Tea Party, Dr. Keys was there also, of last year, there were some signs then. And being on Facebook, and especially a candidate, you get all kinds of feedback. And someone said, this sign here is racist because what it pictured was a tea drinker. They said, you know, a cup of tea and a bottle of Kool-Aid. And they said the Kool-Aid is racist because you're implying that Obama, being black, drinks Kool-Aid. Are you a tea drinker or a Kool-Aid drinker? Well, that shows a lack of understanding. The reference was to Jim Jones in Jonestown. You know, do you drink the Kool-Aid and kill yourself because you don't know what you're stepping into? The Constitution was written by slave owners. The Constitution made me 3/5 of a man, and so on down the line. It denied me the right to vote. It didn't do any of that, okay? As a matter of fact, the 3/5 clause was designed to assist in the northern states and count slave-owning states in a lesser amount. And until you understand the full meaning behind these things, you don't understand what's really going on. And if the NAACP and all these other groups would simply investigate and ask the question, why is Obama pictured as a witch doctor? Well, because we were dealing with health care. Do we want to do an experiment with healthcare that we don't know what it's going into? You know, find the reasons behind the things that are going on before you jump to the conclusion that is racist, and then make your decision, and we would criticize appropriately.
Ain't that lovely? Show them the other stuff. Show them the other stuff.
I'm not going to hog this. Also, when you go on the NAACP's website, you won't find the word Republican.